Hi, I'm Joey Bachrach, and I'm an alcoholic.
And I'm Siobhan Garcia, and I'm a normie.
And this is Totally Sober.
Talk about
I think even
about
if you're involved like in this conversation, that's fine too because you can cut yourself
Can they
out.
hear your voice back
it's like the
there?
Kardashians.
And today we have a very special guest. His name is Joel. I will let him introduce and share a little bit about who you are so our fans and followers can see and get to know who you are. So, Joel.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Joel. I am an alcoholic addict. I have 16 months of sobriety. I've been in recovery since 2014. So,
Nice. And Joel has also been one of our former residents at Rainbow Hill Sober Living, and then he was the head of house, which means he was the leader of everybody who is currently a resident of ours. So do you want to share about how you found Rainbow Hill Sober Living and what your experience overall has been, the good, the bad, the ugly? We're going to let it all out. So be honest and open.
yeah. Well, I found myself looking for a place to live that would be conducive to my recovery. My family was relocating and I'd been staying with them at the time. So my option was like get my own apartment, which is not advised in early recovery. I could easily blow that up, or find a sober living. That was my sponsor's suggestion. And of course I was going to listen to whatever he asked me to do. So I started sharing at meetings and I asked around and I kept hearing Rainbow Hill, and like people that lived at Rainbow Hill, Sober Living kept telling me like, oh, you should come over. And I was really hesitant about it just because I didn't think I could afford it. All these different reasons. And after I exhausted like every other Sober Living, I decided to give you guys a call. And I spoke to you and you were very nice on the phone and very honest. And I was honest with you about like my situation. And it ended up working out and then I moved in. And it was really comfortable. I knew everybody at the house, which was really nice. And it felt like a big family. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel like I was some outsider coming in. Like I was just like I was welcomed right in. So yeah.
Into our Rainbow Hill family.
I think that's so important too, is to not go into like a sober living where you're the only gay guy or something.
Yeah.
That would be like scary.
I toured not so many, but I toured a few sober livings and just like walking in and I'd be like, oh, this is not it. But it didn't feel that way when I walked into the house. There was like a warmth and it was colorful and it was just a different vibe. So it made it easy.
Yeah.
Cool. It was like, I really want to be here.
There's definitely a lot of color at the house.
Yeah.
It's a colorful house.
Yeah. Siobhan, I'll leave it to you.
Oh, okay. Well, we actually know each other. And I was trying to explain to them earlier where we have met, and I want to say Palm Springs, but was it not?
I don't think it was Palm Springs.
Okay.
That's not
Where did we meet?
It's funny. So I think I met you while I was out. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't sober at the time.
We were definitely partying.
Yeah. Definitely partying and drinking. So I think I met you at an after party.
Was it at my house?
I'd also gone to your house.
Okay.
I remember that as well.
So.
But
okay.
Yeah, I
It's been a
remember.
fuzzy, that was like a 3 year ago.
That was a blur.
Yeah.
This was a long time ago, before
Yes.
Rainbow
Yeah, this
Hill
was years
existed.
ago.
Yeah.
This was years ago.
Yeah.
I'll put a little disclaimer.
Before we both got it together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some like after party that used to happen, like near the train tracks, like in downtown.
Oh,
somewhere.
Albany or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Iconic, yeah.
I think we met there, and then
Okay.
I'd gone to
I don't know
your
why I thought
place.
Palm Springs. I don't know why.
No, not Palm
Okay,
Springs.
interesting. And we had some mutual friends. That's
Yeah,
why.
we had mutual friends.
Mhm. Yeah, okay. And then I guess I got married.
You got married
And then I kind
and
of
disappeared.
disappeared a little bit.
Fell off the face of the earth.
And then so did you a little bit. You stopped going out like you were, or I didn't really see you going out, I guess.
I think, well, yeah, I think like the pandemic hit, and then like my addiction just got worse. So it wasn't like, yeah, I don't think I was really going to like parties or bars. It just became like a lot darker than that. Like it wasn't fun anymore. So
Right.
I wasn't being social.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but now you are getting social, and you have been going out and getting your feet wet into the scene, so to speak, responsibly.
Yeah.
As far as, doing what you need to do, making sure you do what you have to do the following day. So we've had the honor and privilege of knowing you since you had 2 weeks sober. It's a call that I won't forget, because you, like you said, you were extremely honest about where you were, what you were hoping, and because of that, we were like, okay, let's make this work. And that must have been a pretty low point for you. So I would like for you to expand on that, on what it was like then and where you're at now and what you have planned for the future.
Yeah. I think I was really desperate. There had been multiple things that happened that like were all just like low points, and it wasn't like one big thing, and like I didn't lose everything, but just like trips to the hospital and psychosis and having to lie to my family about what was going on. I didn't look healthy. I was 2 sizes smaller than I am now. So I wasn't in a good place. And I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to turn. But I think it's really important to have a sponsor, and that's somebody that I always had to go to no matter what. Every time that I kept relapsing, like I would come back, immediately, and I would be on the phone with him. And he suggested sober living, and I did that. And that was such a great step to take, because it provided that accountability that I needed. I didn't have a safety net of like my family, or friends, I can go out and screw it all up and know that like I'll be able to crash on my friend's couch or like go to my parents' house. Those weren't really options. It was like, if I screw this up, I won't have a place to live. And also just to be able to be around other like-minded people that were my age, and like we're all working people, and we're all just trying to stay sober and like do this thing called life. That helped.
Do you have right now like a good group of supportive friends to help keep you sober that maybe aren't sober?
A good group of friends that are support to me that are not sober. Well, that's a tough one. I'm still friends with some of those people that are normies that I used to party with and hang out with all the time. But I wouldn't say that they're my support system. They're not people that I rely on. If shit ever hits the fan, like those are not the people that I'm going to go to. And I mean, it's kind of hurtful to say because like I've known them forever and they're my friends, but I think at the end of the day, once I got sober and I looked at what those relationships were, they were all based on, parties and drinking. And I don't know if any of it was actual, like, meaningful connection or friendships. But like I said, I still talk to those people. I don't see them every day. We don't hang out all the time. I think I have a new circle of friends that I rely on, a new sober support system. And it consists of like my sponsor, my sponsee family, a couple of sober friends, and my family.
Awesome.
And you guys.
Oh,
Awesome.
they're all like our sober children. So I know I might cry a little bit when you move out, and I can speak for Andrew. He'll probably do the same. We do have soft spots.
You're not going to cry?
Damn.
I don't think I've ever seen Andrew shed a tear.
Oh, it's okay. And then do you have any advice for somebody who's thinking about getting sober? Who's thinking about what they should do? Any recommendations for them?
Yeah, what is the first thing to do? Like, how do you find a sponsor? Do you just like type them in on Google or something?
No, you can't Google a sponsor, but I mean, just go to meetings. That's what I did. I was like, how did I get sober the first time? So like I said, this is my second round of sobriety, and I didn't know how I did it. I was like, what did I do to get sober? I went to meetings, so I started going back to meetings. You can Google meetings, but yeah, I found some meetings, and I started consistently attending the same meetings. And I didn't rush into getting a sponsor. I really wanted to find the right person, and I sat next to this guy who, like, he and I were joking throughout the whole meeting, which I don't recommend. But you know, we just like, I could tell that we clicked. And when the meeting was over, we both stood up and we were like, what's your name? And, you know, the rest is history with him. So definitely go to meetings, get a sponsor, begin working the steps. I didn't do that last time. My first round of sobriety, I didn't get a sponsor, work the steps. So, you know, almost 5 years later, it's like I relapsed. I didn't have, like, the tools weren't there. And sober living's a great idea if you are struggling with like a place to live, or you need accountability, or just like a good group of people to be around that you can rely on. Like, sober living's it. Definitely like be willing to give up a lot of things that you used to do. You know, I love to party. I'm a party boy, and I had to stop that for a while, and put that on the back burner. Like, my life is so much more important than like some party that I'm gonna miss. Like, that's always gonna be there.
You probably got like the FOMO, right? Like fear of missing out at the beginning.
Yeah, there's always FOMO, but then at the end of the day, I look at it and it's like, what am I really missing? Like, what am I missing on? Like, half of the time, nobody remembers anything anyways.
Right.
It's true.
I always felt like I got FOMO sometimes, and I'm like, I really wasn't missed at that party.
Yeah, like nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's gonna notice. Like I said before, like those, like, yeah, like those are friends, and those are people that you talk to when you go out and stuff. That,
Right.
like, they're not actually concerned with where you are.
Right.
No, I always do the French exit, and I bucket when I can.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, bye.
So there's like, I guess, bad parts of like going out and partying that I had to leave behind. But that was for the sake of being able to continue to go out and partying. You know, it's like if I went out and like I kept screwing up every single time, then it's like I do have to give it up. So that was like motivation. And then also, I think just like proving to you guys that like it can be done was important for me. It was like a selfish reason, because it was like I know what I want to do, and like I want to live my life as normally as possible. And so being able to show that to you was really important. Like coming home at a certain time on the dot on time.
Yeah.
Like every
the famous one-liner we always say is, if you're not home by 12 o'clock, you're going to turn into a pumpkin. So
you guys
everyone knows.
put like gold stars on
We
who's,
don't.
like...
We don't. What's really funny is watching everybody run through the gates at 11:59 p.m. on a weekend, making sure that they're home by 12.
Yeah.
So we're very particular with who we decide to bring on, to work with us, because being in charge of a house is a lot of hard work. So Joel was someone who had some pretty big shoes to fill, because Andrew and I needed to pass the baton over. Since opening Rainbow Hill Recovery, we needed to remove ourselves quite a bit. So you've proven to us time and time again that we could trust you. You were home on time, you were leading by example, and the guys really looked up to you. So we knew that the house was in good hands when we decided to go with you. So
I think the more time that I got and the longer that I was there, it just naturally came to me that I was in a position where people would look up to me, and people are watching what I'm doing. Everyone else can see that I have a full-time job, that I'm going to meetings, and that I still go out on the weekends, and I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do to stay sober. So in a way, I felt like all eyes were on me. But it also came naturally that I did want to set a good example for everyone. And I got a few phone calls from you guys, being like, what's everyone going to think when you're coming home at this time or whatever? and that's something that I had to think about. It's okay, people are watching. So what kind of person do I want to be? And I think I was able to prove that it could be done, and that I am a trustworthy, responsible person. And you guys eventually offered me the position of being the house manager, which I never wanted to do.
I remember. You're like, oh, I don't know about that.
I was like, no, but
what made you say yes?
Your own room.
Oh my gosh, my own room. Yeah, for sure, my own room, and just the opportunity. I saw it being a path to leave, to be able to. Well, not in that way, not in a bad way.
No,
just
yeah, you were able to save on what you were using for guest fees, and then you also got paid from us. So we were trying to help get you set up for when you do leave and bucket from the hill.
To be set up for success, that was a really big fear and concern of mine. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to move. I don't know how I'm supposed to be saving money. I don't know. It was all these things that were making me feel uneasy. And it was like, okay, here's another opportunity. Next indicated step that came up was it's a house manager. Okay, that's clearly there's my indication. So I took it. I enjoy dancing. I love being out. But in the beginning, it was difficult. I started going to bars and clubs, and I would get really uncomfortable, and it would be weird. So I would leave. That was a suggestion that my friend gave me. He was like, "Oh, you're feeling weird. Go home." And I was like, "Damn,
pretty good advice."
So I would go home. Most of the time, I would end up leaving an hour after I got there. But the more and more that I kept doing that, the easier it got. And also just knowing when to leave is such a great tool. When to leave a party and not trying to extend your night past more than you need to. I think that's such a great skill to have. And then also knowing when I have shit to do the next day, I shouldn't go out. And if I do, go home early.
Good advice.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can all speak that we've had some things to do and went out the next day and couldn't do them. It's never a good feeling.
I think the difference now too is even if I do go out and I do have something to do the next day, I still wake up and do it.
Right.
I don't call out. I don't call in sick. I don't make excuses or like start to lie about things. It's like I have to, like, there are things that I have to do.
And that must feel good to be able to do them now. When you take care of yourself, I think life rewards you on its own. I think so.
Yeah, like I went to the dentist last week because I'm getting teeth, or I'm getting my teeth fixed. You know,
Okay.
This is the first time I've gone to the dentist in sobriety. And I'd gone out the night before, but I still got up and I went to my dentist appointment, and it was fine.
Yeah, you're adulting.
I'm adulting, and it's not always fun. It's not always easy.
But you're doing it.
Yeah.
And what are you looking forward to most as the next chapter of your journey starts to unfold?
Oh my gosh. I think I'm looking forward to being self-sufficient and independent. I don't like it's been so nice to like have people that I can rely on and help me. But I also just really want to be able to do it like by myself. I'm wrapping up like 4 months at this new job. It's been like my dream job, and like these last 5 years I'm like, why can't I get this? Like, why isn't it happening for me? But like I wasn't sober that whole time, and like the second I got sober, things started happening. So I'm really excited for what like will continue to come. The more that I stay sober, I feel like the more that I stay aligned in like recovery and like step work and my sponsor and like the fellowship, like all these things start to fall into place and all these opportunities come up.
I'm a huge believer in manifestation. So be careful.
And I'm a huge believer in everything happens for a reason and everything's built up to a plan. Like I always find like if I'm taking care of myself, you know, I found a boyfriend, got married, you know, like I was like not just meeting boys at a bar and just like hoping for the best, you know, like I was like taking the steps just to like meet a normal person.
I feel like whatever you put out into the universe, like that's definitely what you're going to get back.
But be specific, because sometimes if you're not specific with what you want, you might get something completely different. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, like following the next indicated step has been like huge, and just being able to recognize when those like pop up, that's gotten me to where I am today.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, I want to say thank you so much. If there's anything else that you would like to add, ask us a question.
I don't know if I have any questions. Do you like filming?
I do like filming, yeah. I used to be a model, so I was on camera a lot, but the past few years I've been out of that and then coming back onto the camera. Can't say I love it, but I do love doing this.
It's fun.
And I love working with my best friends.
It's funny because like some of our mutual friends have been like, it's so weird to see like Siobhan doing this because like
I was wondering if people, because like they all know. I was just wondering what people do like think or say, because they probably remember me as like a crazy person.
From back in the day. So it's like it's weird to see you, I don't know, doing this. You know, it's the complete opposite of like a life that we used to live.
And even though I'm not sober, I think that before I was going a little overboard and like going out a little too much for what I can handle, I think. So even though I'm not sober, I feel like I'm still in I still went through a journey of like cleaning it up a bit and like becoming a normie in a way. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense.
I think for me, there has to be like intention behind like something that I'm doing. Like why do I want to go out right now? Like is it just because, or is there like something specific happening? Is it somebody's birthday? And not just like this like really dumb mindless routine of like, oh, it's Friday so I'm going out.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in bed by like 10:30, I hope, on good days. Well, minus the dogs. The dogs are little terrors. So, well, thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to interview with us. And on that note, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button and hit
Hear
that.
that ding?
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Do you still have the, do you have a, sorry, cut and then recut. Sorry.